everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I hate to dance. So see, good. I hate to dance. I'm not good at it. I'm conscious of every part of my body and what it must look like to other people. But if I dance, I prefer this one move. You guys will know it who are familiar with Happy Days. I do the Fonzie dance. Anyone know what the Fonzie dance is? How about no one knows what the Fonzie dance is? Okay, you don't need to give me music. I can do this. Just imagine a slow dance, imagine a fast dance, whatever dance you want. Here's the Fonzie dance. My wife's here. That's it. That's it. Don't do anything more. That's my dance. But you know, I do dance sometimes. I dance because my wife wants to dance. And I just figure if she's willing to risk her toes being stepped on, or she's willing to have people question, why does she dance with that guy? If she's willing to do all those things, take those risks, why can't I dance? Why can't I join in with her? Besides, I know that no matter what I look like, no matter how badly I dance, after it's all over, I know she'll still love me because we did it together. I opened that way about a confession of my dislike to dance because dance was the similar theme in both the Old Testament and the New Testament readings this morning. David wanted Jerusalem to become the cultural, religious, and the political hub of this brand new land that God has promised to his people. So, as they moved into this new land, David was sacrificing. He was sacrificing animals on the way because this was at a time previous to priests having to be present during the sacrifice. Every 6 steps, David made a sacrifice. And of course, with celebrations of sacrifice also comes a dance. He danced a lot. He let it all hang out, literally and figuratively. Micah, one of Saul's daughters and one of his future wives, saw David. And she was not impressed at all. In fact, she was rather embarrassed. And in the reading today, she said she despised him, or another translation is, she lost all respect for him because of the way he danced. Mark records another dance. This is an instance of self-image going beyond one's values. Now, I'll explain that. In this dance, Herod was very well impressed with seeing his stepdaughter, what she could do, how she could move. So overwhelmed with and impressed with her, he said, you know, I'll give you whatever you want. All the way up to half my kingdom. That's a pretty outlandish claim. He said, I'll give you anything. Well, with such a large offer, the daughter wisely went to her mother and asked, what should I do? And she, the mother, was not interested in things at all. Rather, she was interested in revenge. She made the request of John the Baptist's head. Now, Herod was very respectful of John the Baptizer because John the Baptizer, he was a person of integrity. He was a genuine man. He spoke and he lived honestly. That's why even when John the Baptizer criticized Herod for marrying his brother's wife, Herod left him alone. There's nothing he could do because John was truthful. He was honest. He respected John. But now things suddenly change. Now that he made this outlandish offer to his stepdaughter in front of all these people, he was more concerned with self-image than any regard for someone he respected. And John the Baptizer was sacrificed because public image had to be maintained at no cost. Now, what sets both of these texts apart is David was not afraid. He was not afraid at all what he looked like, how he appeared when he danced. However, Herod was so concerned about how he appeared to other people, his public image, that he was willing to sacrifice even a man who was good. I don't know what year it happened, but there was a fear survey. Perhaps you've heard about it. But in this fear survey, it listed all kinds of different fears a person may have. And I don't know how many took the survey, but by and large, the number of people circled the fear of public speaking more than people circled the fear of death. That's amazing. People are more concerned about how they look or how they are perceived by other people than actually dying. It appears that if that fear survey was given to Herod during his time, he probably would have selected the same. Fear of what people thought of him. You know, image is important, and that's understandable. We all want to be respected for who we are, how people perceive us. Our image is important. Sometimes we work hard for that image, and that image does say a lot. Image can attract people to us like a magnet, or image can repel people just as easily. That image says a lot. But image is not everything. I was listening to the Diane Rehm show. I'm an NPR junkie. Maybe some of you like NPR. I was listening to Diane Rehm one day, and she was interviewing a Buddhist monk. Now, this wasn't any regular sort of Buddhist monk. This is a man who was once a molecular biologist. And he was good at doing whatever molecular biologists do. He was respected. But despite all his education, despite all his success in being a molecular biologist, it was not fulfilling for him. So, he decided to a new course in life. He decided to become a Buddhist monk. And that is just not a simple signing a piece of paper and walking away. This was something very big. He had to now focus on not accumulating things or accumulating titles, but now he had to give up, to renounce, to let go. Then he began putting aside all those things which made him a very famous person. The fact that I don't remember his name really says a lot about who he is. He gave up any sense of notoriety, any sense of fame that he might have achieved. He gave up all those things. And he tells the story that one day he was in the monastery, and one of the other monks approaches, because they never had a molecular biologist in their monk ranks before. He asked, "What shall we call you?" Expecting to hear him say, "Dr. somebody," or "Mr. somebody," whatever. He said, "Call me the sweeper." The sweeper. He wanted to be known by the most humble name, task in the monastery. Now we know that we certainly are not human doings, we're human beings, but he wanted to be known in a humble manner. He did not want to be known as a matter of fame. Because while indeed we are human beings, we are known by the choices we make. He wanted to pass to die, and he wanted to be known in a new manner. David made a choice of praising God on his journey toward Jerusalem. Obviously, he did not care how he was perceived in public. Herod, on the other hand, based all his decisions on public image. And we know, this is political season, we all know that a person who bases his or her life on public opinion is about as consistent and reliable as the way the wind blows. Herod and David, two very different individuals. The only risks taken are the ones that matter to God for David, matter to himself for Hiram. In a speech in Detroit on June 23, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King made the following statement. And please forgive the language of 1963. They didn't know much about inclusion back then. He said, "There are some things so dear, some things so precious, some things so eternally true, that they are worth dying for. And I submit to you that if a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he is not fit to live." Taking a risk is death. It is a death to concern over public perception. It is putting to death the fears that confine us to an unattainable false image of oneself, what society tells us to be, what we're told to look like, who we are told to love, what success means, who to associate with. It is putting to death all those things, even the insane notion that one is just too small to be a part of God's larger scheme in this world. You know, perhaps fear of dancing could have been one of those items on that great big fear survey. It probably could have ranked just as high. But God calls us to risk breaking out of who we confine ourselves to become who God wants us to be. Life, indeed, is unpredictable, yet we can move to life just as a dancer moves to the music of the world, changing tempos, changing flows, grasping the music and moving to it so fluently, as if the two were not even separated. God calls us to dance, unencumbered with fears of how we may look by others. We're called to dance, to work for justice and peace, whether it be on a grand scale of something in our society or world, or maybe just as grand of a scale as creating justice and peace within our own lives, within our own families, among our circle of friends. We are called to embrace life together and not remain paralyzed in a Fonzie dance that is fearful of moving, fearful of how one is perceived. We're called to dance, to embrace life, to enjoy life, to feel its music, to move with its flow. So may you dance where the music of life leads you. Dance through all life with God who accepts us for all our awkwardness, our inability to move to music. Dance with this God who will lead you in unimagined rhythms of life. May the peace of God be with us all. Amen.